Guys, I greatly appreciate you all being here tonight. We're going to go ahead and we're going to get started promptly here at 6 o'clock. That way you guys can get in, get some information. I know everybody's busy and everybody's ready to get home. My name's Ryan Apple. I'm assistant principal here at New Albany High School. Some of your children will deal with me on a regular basis depending upon the part of the alphabet their name falls, their last name. Miss Gibbons, right here, she's another assistant principal here at New Albany High School. We've got some counselors and special education facilitators I'm going to introduce to you here in a minute. For those of you who don't know, Dr. Michelle Jenkins is our head principal. You met Miss Gibbons a second ago. Mr. John Scott is our dean of students. He's not with us tonight. And there I am, Dr. Ryan Apple, assistant principal, letters N through Z. Mr. Unruh is not with us tonight. He's always got something every night, but he's our athletic director. He's probably the busiest man in New Albany. And then Miss Jamie Crick, she's another assistant principal. She's in charge of all 119 roughly of our teachers. Counseling staff, and again, a lot of this depends upon your student's last name. And so if your student's last name falls between A or B, or they are a Bulldog Scholar. Some of you have students that are Bullpup Scholars or something like that. Now, later on in the spring, a committee gets together, they go through some things, and they determine who's going to be a Bulldog Scholar. Those are people who they get a little bit of extra help as they go through. They're identified as an underserved population in one way or the other. They're monitored closely. But if your child's going to fall in that, even though their name might not be A through B, Ms. McGarvey will be their counselor. Mr. Justin Campbell is right here. Mr. Campbell has got C through G last names. Some of you have students who will one day want to be college athletes. If that's the case, as they get older, they'll work quite a bit with Mr. Campbell. He handles all of our, what used to be called clearinghouse, but making sure that they are academically eligible and ready to go for college. He's going to talk a little bit about that here in just a second. Miss Jessie Spainhour, she's not with us tonight, but she's got letters H through L. She used to have the IB program. We are switching to what's called AT Capstone. It's a much more friendly program. We'll talk a little bit about that here in a little bit, but that may be something that your student wants to go through. She may pick that up. We're not 100% sure yet. Miss Mary Beth Hackman is here somewhere, right here. Miss Hackman, she's got letters M through R. She would be your child's counselor if they fall in that. Or if your child is an English language learner, she will handle them as well. Miss Pauletta Stewart is back there in the back, waving at everybody. She's got letters S through Z. A couple other things we've got here in New Albany that if you've ever seen another high school or been somewhere else, you don't realize how fortunate we are to have a counselor who her sole job is when your child is a senior, if they want to go to college, her sole job is to help them fill out FAFSA and to help them fill out applications and to help them fill out scholarships. Most places don't have that. That is something we are very fortunate to have. Out of about a graduating class last year of about 450, we had roughly $13 million in scholarship money coming to New Albany students. That is outstanding. But she does a fantastic job. We've got Miss Patty Howland. She's a special education facilitator, letters A through J. If your child has an IEP and receives some accommodations where they're at now, they're going to have a facilitator. They're going to have somebody to help kind of monitor, making sure things happen like they're supposed to happen. We've got somebody new. I don't have a picture up there because we haven't taken it yet. Miss Erin Kaiser has come to us. She started in January. She is a special education facilitator for the back half of the alphabet, so K through Z. And then we've got Miss DeAndrea Williams. Her job, and again, we are very fortunate here. Oh, here comes Miss Spainhour. We talked about her a minute ago. All those bad things, forget about her. She's now here. But again, we are very fortunate to have a counseling person who their sole job is to work on college and career readiness. So you see kind of some of the stats that we've got here. Right now, I'm going to hand off to Mr. Justin Campbell. He's going to talk through some of the counseling things that they are expert in. When your child is in middle school, and if you've never had a high schooler before, you don't really realize sometimes that if your child maybe gets an F in middle school, they still move on. If your child gets an F in high school, they're going to have to take that class over because they need credits and they need a certain number, and they need a certain number in each area, and they need to pass the state says certain classes, and if we don't get those done, we don't graduate. So it becomes very real. And parents, this is one thing, and we'll talk about some tips for parents here in a little bit, but one thing to really stress to your students, that every class is so important once they get to high school, because they need them all to graduate. Mr. Campbell?
All right, so let's get going. So first and foremost, your student will take 14, your student has the chance to have 14 credits. So you get 7 credits in one semester and 7 credits in the next semester, because there will be 7 periods a day they will have. So your child has the possibility to earn 14 credits a semester. So when you do that math, 14 times 4, that would be 56 credits they could get. And so naturally for a core 40, that's going to be 42 credits, and then for technical and academic, that's going to be 47. So you'll see that they have that possibility to get even more credits than what they need. The key is, and I'm going to go a little bit more specific when I get down to the diploma tracks, but that must be a D- or higher. So that is the possibility that a student has, is to get 14 credits. Class rank. Now this is very important, so that we make sure we understand this, because we get this a lot, and the next 2 slides are going to explain this. Class rank is determined by the total number of grade points earned, not by a student's grade point average. And so I'm going to break that down a little bit more in a second. But you need to know that when a student takes a class here, if they're taking just a regular level class, that's going to be on a scale of a 4.0. If a student is taking an honors class, that's then going to be on a scale of a 5.0. If a student takes an AP or a dual credit class, that's going to be on a weighted scale of 6. And so that's important, because as you keep going to, as far as thinking about your class rank, you've got to take the most rigorous. If a student is worried about, hey, I want to be in the top 10%, or I want to be, number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then you've got to take the most rigorous courses that you can every semester. Now, we want kids to be balanced though. So we want kids to take a rigorous course, but we want them to take, band or other classes that also interest them. But understand that if a kid is taking, we get this question a lot, why did my kid drop down 5, his rank went down 5. Well, if a kid all of a sudden takes a regular class, which is at a 4.0, but all these other kids who were right by them are taking all 6-point scale classes, then that will drop that student. But again, as we continue to, get what you all need, parents, as long as your kid is doing very well, that's what colleges do care about. They do want the kid to have a good grade point average and rank, but remember, colleges are also wanting them to be well-rounded as well. So just kind of a balance there. Something came up on here. There we go. So, only the 8 semesters of a student's high school career will count towards class rank. So some kids will take algebra and geometry or period 0 at 8th or 7th grade. But that does not count towards the class rank. Only the semesters that are counted are here in the 8 semesters. That also means that they take a summer school class, that's not geared towards their class rank. And so that's important that you do understand that as you're coming up to high school. So, the diploma tracks. We have Core 40. Again, for the Core 40, that means a student must get that 42 credits, and it has to be a D- or better. Now, when we get to technical honors and academic honors, you have to get all C minuses or better. So that's important. It has to be all C minuses or better. Also, when you look at technical honors diploma, you would either, we have what we call here Project Lead the Way, which is an engineering track. Most of that is going to come from Prosser though. And that's what kids will take their junior and senior year. Now the important part about that is we want kids to be on track as they're planning. So if a kid knows, hey, I would like to go do welding or criminal justice, fire rescue, nursing, dental, culinary, whatever it may be, aviation. We have all kind of things over there, collision and auto repair. They need to make sure they're on track freshman and sophomore year. Because junior year, they will be in the building for three periods, and then they'll go to Prosser 4. Senior year, they'll only be in the building 3 periods, and they'll go to Prosser 4. So we want to make sure that they are actually on track, so that when we go over there, and almost everybody who goes there, you get certificates, you get licensed, and so it's a really great experience for a kid to get in high school. And then the last one is the academic honors diploma. Again, you got to have the 47 credits, C minus or better. The key there is you're going to have to take a 4th year math, so that's going to be a pre-cal, a finite, one of the higher math. You also need to take either 3 years of one foreign language, and we have 4 different choices there, or you're going to take 2 and 2. So that, and then you also have to take a fine arts class. So those are some of the requirements for that. Now I'm going to skip over and come back. NCAA eligibility. So, this is vital. And why this is up here, you can maybe kind of read some of it, you can't read maybe a little bit of it. If you're an athlete in whatever sport it is, if you are trying to go play in a college level, you must have the grades. What you see right here is in that red box, it says 2.281. Now, this is not your GPA. This is what the NCAA calls a core GPA. And this is calculated by how many, as you see down there on that box right above that red, it's calculated on how many A's you get, B's you get, C's you get, and there's a point value for each one. So if you look up there, this student does not have very many A's and B's. If you look, they got 2 A's, I think that says 3 B's maybe, but look at that, that says 12 C's and 8 D's. So if you're a student right now, hovering on C's and D's, and I maybe have a couple A's, couple B's, that will not get you into the NCAA. You may have to go to a junior college or something of that nature, then transfer over. But in order to get to the NCAA, your score has to be higher than a 2.3 for Division I, and for Division II, it has to be higher than a 2.2. So one more grade wrong, like maybe an A that's a B, would have taken that person down below a 2.2 even. So I say that to say a lot of kids, we come up here, they talk to me, our coaches talk to them. Their junior year, the second semester, they're like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I'm like, well, we've been telling you this since freshman year. So you're probably going to have to go to some junior college, do good there, and then transfer over to another college. And some kids can't even make it to the junior college. So I'm just saying this to say those classes really do matter. You've got to work hard. And the last thing, we do have online classes here. And like Mr. Apple said, if you flunk a class, you have to take the online class. You're going to keep going. But you need to understand for NCAA, that our online here is not accepted as a class to take. So if you flunk English and then you take online, that does not count towards your NCAA. So now you already are behind the 8 ball. And in certain classes, we don't put you back in because of numbers. So you need to make sure you're not only passing every class, but you are passing those correctly.
Now, Mr. Apple will be able to access all of this information, like academic handbook for school, or will they have access to our slides tonight? Okay, because I do not want to overwhelm you. I can only imagine when new students hear all the information I'm going to share. It's a lot to take in, but we're going to go over the different diploma requirements. So it says students in the graduating class of 2023 must satisfy all three of the following graduation pathway requirements by completing one of the associated pathway options. And so it says a graduation requirement, graduation pathway, a high school diploma, and it says they have to meet the defined diploma credit and curricular requirements. I've been here 17 years. A lot of changes have happened in what it takes to acquire a diploma at New Albany High School. You have to learn and demonstrate employability skills. This year we're allowed for students who do not pass the I-STEP to be able to have a job. And that is if someone can verify that they have job and employment, we can use that as part of their graduation requirement for the graduation pathway. Students must complete at least one of the following, and it says a project-based learning experience, a service-based learning experience, or work-based learning experience. I encourage students that even in middle school, there might be kids who are working at a soup kitchen or volunteering, doing something through a church or a local organization. Perhaps start keeping a little steno pad, a notebook, and start documenting that. It also comes quite handy to have when it comes scholarship time and doing applications as well. The third part of the pathway is the post-secondary ready competencies. It says students must complete at least one of the following: an honors diploma, fulfill all requirements of either the academic or the technical honors diploma. They can do the ACT, which is a college-ready exam, also the SAT or the ASVAB. And the military's been great this year. They've come in to test our students for the ASVAB. So for seniors this year, they're able to take the ASVAB, which is a test usually the military does for placement. And so they're coming in and taking that. And then it says the graduation requirement, it says a state industry recognized credential or certification. If students go to Prosser, some may be able to obtain that. A federally recognized apprenticeship. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those here at New Albany, but they might be if your student attends Prosser. It says a career technical education concentrator, where they have to earn at least a C when they go to Prosser. So if your son or daughter decides to attend Prosser and they take the culinary arts program, they can earn a grade of A, B, C, D, or F. So if they earn at least 6 credits at Prosser, that meets the requirement of the pathway. And then it says IB, AP, dual credit. If they have any of those components, 6 credits, that can qualify them with a combination of the employment for a diploma. And then it says a locally created pathway. So we have students, when your child comes home and they may say, I don't know if I want to take PE, I'm an athlete, I'm in a sport, they can kind of cash that sport in to earn PE credit. Some of them might decide they want to belong in the NJROTC, the program that we have here, the Junior Naval ROTC program. So there's lots of ways that students can meet that pathway, because now that testing component is gone. So now we want to talk just a moment about the statewide transfer general education core. And as I said, it's a lot of information. When you're in middle school, it is much different from high school. As Mr. Campbell said, now this is it. There's really not a do-over. The do-over is, if you fail a course, it's going to be something that you do online, unless it's a foreign language, and therefore you would have to go back in the classroom. So now, because we are so close to Ivy Tech Community College in Sellersburg, we have something through the state of Indiana, through Ivy Tech, that's called the Statewide Transfer General Education Core. That's a mouthful. And basically this year, for our graduating class of, I think we have probably about 460, 465 students, there's going to be about 40, 42 students in the building that are going to have the ability to earn a 1-year general certificate through Ivy Tech. And the beauty of this program, this STGEC, is if students take a combination of courses, for instance, English Composition AP when they're a junior, English Literature when they're a senior, if they take US AP History when they're a junior, if they take pre-calculus or finite math when they're a sophomore, junior, or senior, occasionally a freshman. There's a combination of courses, Spanish 3, Spanish 4, French 3, French 4. So if they have a combination of these courses, it's 30 hours. The Ivy Tech is going to give them a statewide general education certificate. The beauty of that certificate is, if your son or daughter goes to college in an Indiana school, That combination of courses that's on a list from Ivy Tech, it has to transfer class for class. So if some of you have attended college and then you transferred elsewhere and you're like, oh, I took Asian civilization, they require world history. I took this class, they require that. This class will transfer for the exact class in a state-supported institution in Indiana. So if your child decides to go to Purdue or USI or Ivy Tech, it's a wonderful deal. We have students that come to us, and I am the dual credit coordinator in the building. I deal with all of the college credit. We have students that come back and tell us, hey, I started college as a sophomore. I transferred, I think the record we have right now is about 72 hours of college between AP testing and the dual credit that we offer here at New Albany. It sounds like a lot of information, because it is, but I promise you, we as their counseling staff, we sit down with each student starting January or February of their freshman year. We meet with them at least 7 times regarding being on track for their cert diploma. So they will hear this information multiple times. If you have questions tonight, as I said, it's a lot of information to absorb. Certainly look our emails up online. It'll tell you who's with what part of the alphabet, and we can certainly answer your questions. We start on the 23rd and the 30th of January going to your child's school, the middle school, and planting that seed on what classes they're going to take here at New Albany. So as I just said, without looking, I didn't know what was up there. It said students will be given a copy of the academic handbook. You can also access that through the school website. As I said, we will be at your child's school the 23rd and 30th. Students and parents will select courses for each year. I always tell my families, select your courses wisely, because after 10 days, it's sort of like when you buy a car and you drive it off the lot, it's your car. After 10 days, the class you selected, it is your class for the remainder of the semester. So make sure that you choose wisely. Don't choose what friends are choosing, because there's no guarantee you're going to be in those classes. But make sure that you choose classes wisely and what you're wanting to take.
I tell them to make the next
Oh, gotcha. And then it says students must return the form to the New Albany school counselors by the 30th. We will, as I said, plant the seed on the 23rd. We'll be back on the 30th. And this year we're doing something unique. Kids will be selecting their own courses via the iPad. So that is something new we're trying. So if they make an error, we'll be correcting those errors and hopefully giving them a proper placement. Thank you.
We've got, and Ms. Hackman hit on a few things, we've got more AP courses than you can shake a stick at. Your child, if they so choose to, can take a multitude of courses that if they score well enough on the AP exam, with a 3 or higher, then it can transfer over to college credit. I'm not going to read all these to you, but there's a big old list here. Now, one thing I want to bring up real quick, I kind of hit on, we used to do the IB diploma program. We were spending a lot of money. Not a lot of kids were doing it because you had to do special classes all the time. What we're transitioning to now is what's called AP Capstone. Essentially, if your child takes a bunch of AP classes, and your counselor will go through all this over the years as they go through, they've got to have at least 3 hours from certain categories and then fill it in with some more hours. Some will take it their sophomore year, some junior, senior year, some sophomore, and through there. There are 2 classes that you'll have to take. They're very research-based. They work on kids. It's kind of like writing a dissertation or a thesis. It gets kids that think they're going to be college-bound and want to achieve high levels. When they get there, it gets their mind going in that. We're running a little short on time. I want to get you out of here as soon as possible. I'm going to skip the video. Plus, it had some kid from Carmel talking about how great Carmel is, and I really don't care about Carmel. We went through these program planning dates. Ms. Hackman hit on them. No, it's a week from tonight, and then 2 weeks from tonight. Make sure you go over all that with your students. Now, I realize that this is one of the most boring things you have ever sat through. But it is one of the most important things potentially you will ever sit through. What I want you to remember, because your head probably can't wrap around all of it right now, because a lot of it is new. And those of us who are in education, it changes so often, we have a hard time from time to time. All of these slides, plus we are videoing tonight. We're going to edit that together. Those of you that kept getting the emails from us letting you know when this is, we're going to email all of this out. We're going to email the presentation out. We're going to email the video out. And that way, if you've got friends that weren't here tonight, you can forward it on to them. We're also going to put it on the school's website. That way, if you didn't get the emails, you could go there and check it out as well. All right, so as your head's swimming and it doesn't make sense, and you go home and you talk to your kid, and okay, I remember what they said, but I don't really remember. Here within the next week or two, we'll get all this up, but then you can sit down and go through it again as you go through things with your child in a couple of weeks. Course offerings as freshmen. Every year your child's going to have to take English. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Up here, depending upon what your child took as an 8th grader, they're going to be in math as a freshman. If they took algebra as a freshman, then they'll probably be in geometry. If they took as an 8th grader, then they'll be geometry as a freshman. If they took geometry as an 8th grader, they'll do algebra 2. We've got geometry honors, algebra 2 honors. Depending upon what they've taken already, depends on where they fall in that. Science, biology honors, or ICP, CIE, health, and PE. Your child may decide to take PE in the summertime with summer school. It's like 8 days, 10 days, something. For 4 hours, you knock one of those PE credits out. So that frees something up for your kid. You can't beat it. They don't have to worry about dressing in the locker room. I know for a young kid, that's a big issue. Come in your clothes, summer school, you knock it out quickly. For Bulldog Scholars, there'll be another class that they'll end up taking as well. Those are some more course offerings. I'm not going to bore you with all of them, but world languages, social studies, these are all things, what they've been taking now, they're going to continue to take. As they get older, some of those classes will change. But as freshmen, they're generally stuff that you're familiar with. Now, right now, I'm going to turn over to Ms. Howland in just a second. She's going to kind of talk about special education services here at New Albany High School. And then I'm going to let Ms. Hackman, our E&L counselor, talk about some of the services there real quick.
Excuse me. A couple of slides back. What does CIE stand for?
Career Information and Exploration class.
Thanks.
But it's changed.
So it's a semester class that every student has to take, but it is just being changed. It still will be a semester class. That class is being changed now. It's called College Prep for Careers, I believe.
College careers.
Yeah, but it's a semester class that every freshman will have to take. But the name of it's being changed this year.
Okay, thank you. We keep changing the name.
I'm actually, I was introduced earlier, Patty Howland. Those of you that have students that have IEPs, please know that they will be assigned a teacher of record that will stay with them all 4 years, unless, of course, they change positions or leave the building. The facilitators will be with them for 4 years as well, so you'll get to know us really well. Our programming, we will meet, Ms. Kaiser and I are going to meet with both Hazelwood and Scribner teachers of record this month to discuss what New Albany is offering in terms of supports for New Albany High School. And so that will be at your case conferences this spring. And if any of you would like us at your meetings because your child has a specific set of concerns you might want to address as they're transitioning to the high school, just let your middle school teacher of record know, and we will try to make every effort. If we can't make it, we'll send a teacher of record. Oh, 504s are covered by the counselors. So the facilitators do not work on 504s, although we're consulted a lot. It is the counselors who will be in charge of that.
And as far as the E&L, Ms. Stewart, I don't know if she's still here. Ms. Stewart does the WIDA testing in the building, but I am the coordinator and the counselor that has all of the EL students. So we will be testing, the WIDA is for literacy, for reading, for writing, for speaking. And so based on those scores is how we will place the student in a basic mentoring study hall and also with a certain level of ENL 1, 2, 3, or 4 and assign them with a specific teacher. This year it is Ms. Burkhart and Ms. Fields.
Athletic eligibility. You're fortunate your kid's coming up and as freshmen, they're going to be eligible that first semester. Now, if your kid's a baseball player or a softball player or anything in the spring, you know, boys golf or girls tennis, if they don't pass 5 classes in the fall, they will not be eligible to play. All right? You got to make sure that your child is on top of their grades. Physicals, they've got to be in. I don't know if any of you all saw the other night, Big Ten Network had that little thing, and Romeo Langford was on there. He's talking about tennis, and man, he's a good player, and he goes out for the team, and what didn't he have? Physical. And he got cut. Get your physical over the summer. I can't tell you how many kids, fall comes around, or basketball season, or wrestling, or something comes around, and they've been ready, and they know, and they know, and they know, and they don't have their physical, and they don't play. Physicals, gotta have them. They cannot play, they cannot participate without them. ROTC, gotta have a physical. If your child's in ROTC, gotta have physicals. They do PT, they can get some PE credit out of there as well. If your child does not want to take PE, there's an opportunity to get PE credits through athletics. So if your child's a soccer player, there's a chance to get a PE credit through there or through ROTC. Clubs here at New Albany. We do clubs throughout the school day, throughout the year. We realize not everybody wants to be in band or choir or play a sport. We got more clubs than you can shake a stick at. Stuff I've never even heard of we've got clubs for. We've got the Disney movie watching club. We've got the board games club. We've got Harry Potter club. Anything your child is involved in or your child likes, we've got a club for it. And that's because your child needs to be involved in something. The kids who come here and they're in band or they're in choir or they're in theater or they play a sport or they're involved in something, ROTC, anything, those kids time and time again are much more successful than those kids who show up here at 7:35, go to class at 7:40, 2:26, go home, and that's it. That's why we have these clubs. Something to get your child involved in. Something to get your child with a group of kids who are like-minded, who have the same interests. Encourage your kid time and time and time again. Get involved in something. No matter what it is, something productive, something for them to belong to. They'll be much more successful. Prosser, I'm only going to talk about it briefly because your child won't go to Prosser. It's not a possibility until they're a junior. But we've got the largest vocational school in Indiana in our backyard part of our school corporation. Used to be, whenever I was younger, Prosser was you work with your hands and that's it. If you thought you were going to go to college, you didn't go Prosser. Prosser's different. Prosser's got a little something for everybody. They've got something, if you want to be a mechanic, they've got that. If you want to be a nurse, they've got that. A little something for everybody. It's completely different. Prosser's being redone right now. Those of you that have ever been in Prosser, it was kind of drab and dreary. It is going to be probably the best facility in the school corporation when all is said and done. PTO. This is something, as somebody who's been at several different schools, elementary schools have PTO. High schools don't have PTO. We in New Albany have a PTO. And they do so much for the students at New Albany. They do success cards when kids do real well academically. They come, they give them certain things. After prom they help out with. They help out with senior events. Pretty much anything that we need they help out with. They help out with food baskets. during long breaks. What PTO needs more than anything are volunteers. PTO, for the number of people that come to the meetings and the number of people that do the different things, do just so much good for not only their kid, but for everybody's kid. If you really want to be involved, as a parent, PTO is a good place to start. Parents, I said we're going to talk about a few things. I'm going to try to get you out real soon. As you go through this, and I'm sure you all are going to look at this later, there are a couple things that you as a parent can do. Number one, make sure your child's here every day. If your child is not present on a regular basis, number one, they're not going to pass. Number two, I'm going to expel them. They got to be here. Make sure your kid's here on time. If they're not at school on time, they're missing educational time. If it's a regular pattern, they're going to get in trouble. Keep up on their grades. iNow. Everybody's pretty used to iNow at this point. Make sure you've got your parent portal login. Check your students' grades. Check their attendance. Because the scary thing is, they're getting older now, and here in a couple of years, they're going to have some friends with some cars. You want to make sure that they don't do something stupid and then skip out one day. Check iNow, check it often. And if they skip out, we'll let you know. In July, we'll have freshman orientation. This is for the students. Students come without you. We match them up with some older kids. They get the student perspective. Because the ins and outs every day for me is not like what it is for a student. Student will show you where you're supposed to be. They'll show you the best way to get through the lunch line. They'll show you the best route because certain stairs are so crowded, it'll take you 2 minutes to get through. But if you walk down one stairwell, you go straight down. Those are the things that they're going to do. Freshman orientation is always a couple weeks before school starts, but it's in July. Keep your ears and eyes open. It'll be in the paper. You'll get the emails. It'll be on WNAS. It'll be out front. It'll be all kinds of places. All right? It'll be on the school website before we do it. But that's your child's chance to come in and explore the building. 21st Century Scholarship, now this is a big one. We've got some ladies out here that can help you. All the emails you all got, it said bring your tax information. Because they're going to help you sign up tonight. And here's the deal, we'll help you sign up anytime. Until the 30th of June, that's the last day. If you don't sign up for 21st Century Scholarship by June the 30th, you've lost it. You can't go back, you can't go get it. What this does, if you qualify, your child, and there are certain qualifications, and again, we keep talking about grades and grade point average. They've got to keep a certain grade point average. There are certain steps each year they've got to do, and we've got people in the building to check up on them, make sure they do it. Your child, as a 21st Century Scholar, can get 100% free college education in the state of Indiana. They can go to state-sponsored school, IU, Purdue, Indiana State, which is where I'd send them if it were me. But if they're a 21st Century Scholar, 100% free. I went to college, I had student loans and I had debt. I had two cousins, 21st Century Scholars, all three of us went to Indiana State. They came out completely debt-free. One of them had some scholarships, she actually made money. When we walk out of here tonight, if you choose to, and I suggest that you do, you go straight through and it gives you a chance to look on the left and see our new library that we're still putting together. To the right, you know, the new box office and some office areas for different things, and a new lunch line that seniors are going to get to eat at, and all that good stuff. So you get to walk through there, but if you keep walking through, you see a bunch of tables. Art, band, choir, ROTC, Ivy Tech, they've all got tables out there. So does 21st Century Scholars. They've got a table out there. And we've got a computer lab right over here. So if you brought that tax stuff, they will help you log in. They will help you create that account, and they'll help you apply. I hope a lot of you brought that stuff, because here's the deal. Worst that's going to happen is the state's going to tell you you don't qualify. If you don't sign up 100%, you're not going to qualify. I would suggest every parent of every student sign up, see if you qualify. Who knows? There's some more 21st Century Scholar stuff, but we kind of hit on that. If you want to get daily announcements, and I suggest you do, and again, you can write this down now, or you'll get this email, it'll be on the website. That email address right there, Miss Lacey, LLacey@nafcs.k12.in.us, will put you on a list, and so every day when the announcements go out, they come to you as well. So that way you know what's going on here in New Albany, because there's no guarantee. Heck, you got middle school kids, it's no different than high school. They're probably not going to tell you stuff. Find out for yourself. Now, and again, we've got under 45 minutes, so that's not bad. I know your head is probably swimming right now trying to figure out what in the world was just said. Those of you that have the correct email address or email address that I now, you will get this presentation sent to you. You'll get the video. Once it's edited, we will post all of it on our school website because I'm sure you have questions. If you have questions on the website, all of our email addresses are on there. We want to help you get the right footing for your child, because if they don't start off right, we're going to be chasing them, us and you and everybody else, for 4 years trying to get them back on track, and it's hard. If you get off track, it's hard to get back on track. So stay on them, and we'll stay on them, but it's going to take both of us to get them and get them there where they need to be. When you leave here, I encourage you to go through that new part, which will be very different than you've seen it in the past. It's beautiful. All those tables are out there, so you get some ROTC information. If your child likes band or choir, that kind of stuff, that's all out there. 21st Century Scholars, they've got a table, labs over here. Stop and talk to them, because free college education, you can't beat it. Guys, we appreciate you all being here tonight. I know if you don't have a high schooler, it's scary. We'll do the best we can with them. Thank you.